Here are the colors of the savannah, all the way from the Mara Serena. The ochres of the earth offset by the green. The vast expanses, an exotic game. Ours, indeed, is the expectant awaiting.
Afternoon. On behalf of East FM and myself, I want to send a very, very warm welcome to His Highness the Aga Khan. And you know, this is on his historic Diamond Jubilee visit to Kenya. I want to say Mubaraki, congratulations to the Ismaili community as well. I mean, we're celebrating 60 years of His Highness the Aga Khan's Imamate. And you know, when we say Karibu Kenya, we mean it from the heart. We want you to smile as soon as you step into the 254.
There are moments in life that become forever etched in your memory. Moments that when you remember years later will bring a smile to your face. Moments that come back to you as vivid flashes of togetherness, coming together, working together, celebrating together. Because these are the moments that get stored away in your heart in the form of a feeling. The feeling of joy, anticipation, exhilaration. And that was the atmosphere here in Kenya in the weeks leading up to Mawlana Hazar Imam's visit.
It's a truly historic occasion. It's an opportunity for the Murids to connect with their Imam. It's an opportunity for many young Murids to experience a Jubilee, a very historic Jubilee of our Imam, and for the seniors of our Jamaat who have seen the history of this Imam evolve to participate in this wonderful occasion.
With the words, Ya Ali Madad, echoing out across Nairobi, the Kenyan Jamaat welcomed their brothers and sisters from several countries across Africa, including South Africa, Namibia, Rwanda, Burundi, Democratic Republic of Congo, and Madagascar.
Il y a environ 15% qui n'ont jamais quitté Madagascar et qui fait que c'était un excitement pour eux parce que c'est la première fois qu'ils quittaient Madagascar et c'est certainement la première fois qu'ils prenaient l'avion.
The Diamond Jubilee village was electric with energy, the fragrance of masala chai mingling in the air with the sounds of accents from so many parts of Africa. A 24-hour hotline catering to a variety of languages was set up to make everybody feel at home, no matter where they came from.
Ya Ali Madad, bienvenue dans la hotline du Diamond Jubilee Darbar Kenya. Comment puis-je vous assister, s'il vous plaît?
This was absolutely amazing. We were really welcomed by the by the Kenya Jamaat. And although there were about 8 countries who were in the Darbar, we just felt like one Jamaat. We had the opportunity in partaking in all the functions that there were. And our volunteers really got involved. And I think they've had a truly memorable Darbar.
As the preparation intensified, soon it was time to take care of the final details. It was on the evening of April the 12th that Mawlana Hazar Imam arrived into Nairobi. And was received by Monica Juma, Cabinet Secretary for the Kenyan Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Trade. Leaders from the Aga Khan Development Network and the Jamaat were also present to welcome Mawlana Hazar Imam. Excited Murids and their fellow Kenyan brothers and sisters lined the streets of Nairobi to say Karibu to Hazar Imam as he made his way through the green city in the sun. This city that he spent so many of his early years in. As young boys, Mawlana Hazar Imam and Prince Amin spent several years in Nairobi during the Second World War. Years that are filled with nostalgia.
When I speak of places that have played a major role in my life, no place comes to mind more quickly than Kenya. My ties here go back to my Toto days. How can I ever forget our childhood house on Caledonian Road, now named the Dennis Pritt Road, and the mega rhubarb that I grew up the rainwater drain, or driving down the garden steps in the late Sir Ibu's car. And how can I forget my brother's despair when his pet bantam chickens were eaten one night by a visiting leopard. Little did I suspect that the next night my rabbits would suffer the same fate.
Indeed, as a young boy, Mawlana Hazar Imam recited namaz for the first time in the now iconic Town Jamaat Khana in Nairobi. This majestic Jamaat Khana, which illuminates the skyline, was the tallest building in Nairobi when it opened its doors in 1922. Prominently located in the center of the city, it was a resplendent symbol of the Ismaili community settlement in then colonial Kenya, and became the focal point of business as a flurry of shops opened up on what would become the city's busiest commercial area at the time, Biashara Street. In recognition of its splendor and significance, the Jamaat Khana has officially been gazetted as a Kenyan historical site and monument, and has become a space where culture and heritage come alive. referred to by many Kenyans as Koja Mosque, the Jamaat Khana's striking clock tower continues watching over the city, always reminding us of our history here. It is a history filled with fond memories.
60 years ago, in 1957, Mawlana Hazar Imam had this Taknishini here in Nairobi on the same site that inshallah we will now have his Diamond Jubilee celebration.
And those precious moments during Mawlana Hazar Imam's Taknishini are still vivid in the minds of those who were fortunate to be there.
And the whole arena was just packed with people with this expectation, this palpable. And it was overcast, and all of a sudden, the clouds moved, and there was a beam of light on the dais, and there wasn't a dry eye in the audience. It was just beautiful. The Ginan, the Tilawat, the Quran.
Then Karim Shah, the Imam, stood up to speak. And just at that moment, there was a small break in the clouds, and rays fell just on him. Can you imagine?
It's not hard to imagine the significance of experiencing a moment like that in Africa. For a community that over a century ago stood on the shores of the Indian Ocean, about to leave life as they knew it, and set foot on wooden dhows across tumultuous oceans towards a continent that was unknown, unfamiliar.
They've mentioned about what a tough time they had sailing into the Indian Ocean, especially with storms and so on, and quite a few people disappeared. You know, they perished, and many people, they had a tough time. They had a tough time sailing for 3 months in a stormy seas. So whoever arrived at the East Coast eventually, they were real adventurers. They had been through some rough time.
Theirs is a story of bravery and resilience.
The Ismaili migrations, recorded migrations, have been from middle 19th century, after the arrival of Aga Hassan Ali Shah into India. And after that, I think we were encouraged to migrate and sail into the Indian Ocean. And with the monsoons, we ended up on the east coast of Africa. Zanzibar, Bagamoyo, Mozambique, Somalia. And we settled, and we made good. And eventually we went into the hinterland.
These pioneers didn't just survive in this new land, they thrived, earning local respect and a place in world history. Sir Taria Topan was one such individual who became so valued by the Sultan of Zanzibar, he was asked to help journalist Henry Morton Stanley look for the explorer Dr. David Livingstone during his famous last expedition. And for his role in helping to abolish the slave trade, he was the first Ismaili to ever be knighted by the Queen. And there were others whose contributions shaped the region.
Ali Wissam, being a very successful businessman along the Uganda Railway up to Uganda, from Mombasa right up to the borders of Congo, succeeded in creating a most successful business enterprise for which he was known as the uncrowned king of Uganda.
Whilst the coast of East Africa was the gateway, opportunity also beckoned in other parts of the continent, such as South Africa.
My grandfather came to Africa, and in those days Africa was one big thing. They didn't know in Gujarat where different parts of Africa were. But I do know that he was pushed by economic difficulty and pulled by hope and adventure. Before he left for Africa, he went to Bombay to find Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah. And Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah walked up to my grandfather, blessed him, his journey, and said to him, Sat Mat Chor, never leave the truth.
A beautiful fusion of cultures began to flower in the places the community made home. So much so that today in Kenya, the sizzle of chapatis can be heard all over the country.
They eat pilau, they eat kachumbari, they love samosas. They make their own version of samosas out of moong dal and beans and whatever.
And it wasn't just the food, but also the language and music that soaked up Indian flavors in the coastal tradition of Tarab, which means to be moved by music. You can still hear the rhythm of the ghazal and the melody of old Bollywood wafting through the alleys and rippling over the oceans. And as this African identity deepened, the community became more involved in shaping the countries they now called home. In Kenya, during the struggle for independence, Mawlana Hazar Imam founded a newspaper for the African population. It became the voice of freedom, the voice of a people, the voice that is today known as the Nation Media Group.
Colonial government did not take it kindly, and the newspaper came under tremendous pressure. But this has not been unusual, and I think the nation played a huge role in terms of helping to bring about the independence of the country.
When I think back to the founding of the nation, and when I reflect on how much has changed and how far we have come, I think especially about the hopes and the dreams with which we launched this company. Our goal then was to create a news medium that belonged to the whole of the nation of Kenya. And that, of course, is why we chose our company name. Our additional central goal at the time of our founding was to create a news medium that would be truly independent, a place where the public could find a voice it could trust, an objective and thoughtful voice, a voice that would tell people what the facts are as reliably as possible.
The Nation Media Group is now the largest media group in East and Central Africa on multiple platforms, radio, print, TV, and digital. And whilst it keeps pace with this continent on the rise, it remains true to the ethos upon which it was founded.
So as we discharge that role, some people inevitably will be unhappy, but we don't worry too much about that because we know it's in the nature of things. But what we try to do is to stick to our editorial creed and policy of being fair, balanced, objective, and independent.
It was growing up with the nation in her home that influenced Malika Kazia's choice to study journalism after she received an Aga Khan Education Service undergraduate scholarship and is now a radio presenter and popular media personality.
So when you think of Kenyan media and you think of papers or you think of TV, you always have NTV or Daily Nation and all of the publications related to NMG come to mind because they've set such a precedent, right? So it was definitely something that helped me know that the path I'd chosen as well was something that he was involved in, and he has institutions that have the best practice of journalism going on.
This commitment that Mawlana Hazar Imam has to the countries in which the community live is reflected in the respect the Imam receives from the leaders across the region. In Kenya, during his Golden Jubilee celebrations, Mawlana Hazar Imam was awarded the country's highest medal of honor, the Chief of the Order of the Golden Heart of Kenya, by the president at the time, President Mwai Kibaki. And on this occasion of Mawlana Hazar Imam's Diamond Jubilee, President Uhuru Kenyatta officially welcomed Hazar Imam for a visit to State House on April 13th.
And President Kenyatta congratulated him on that Jubilee, wishing him and the Ismailia community the very best wishes. The Ismaili community has and continues to be a part of Kenyan history, with investments and development to Kenya spanning 100 years. Under the leadership of His Highness the Aga Khan, a number of institutions have been established that have made significant contribution to Kenyan development and achievement of a Kenyan dream.
In the Ismaili tradition, Jubilees have always provided an opportunity to establish programs and initiatives that make a difference to the communities amongst whom the Jamaat live. In Kenya, the institutions of the Imamate have such a long history that the name Aga Khan has become woven into the fabric of the country. The first insurance firm during colonial rule to offer its services to all races in Kenya was Jubilee Insurance, which was established following Mawlana Sultan Muhammad Shah's Golden Jubilee in 1937. And during his Diamond Jubilee, Mawlana Sultan Muhammad Shah introduced another initiative that would change the lives of the Jamaat in the region.
It has given us the opportunity for which I have been waiting for many years to carry out a fundamental change in the economic sphere of the lives of my spiritual children. Under such circumstances, the Diamond Jubilee came as a unique opportunity for bringing about some radical changes, not only materially, but of the general outlook amongst my people. As everyone is well aware, the value of these diamonds has been unconditionally presented to me on this occasion. I do not wish to take this amount for myself, but to use it for any object that I think is best for my spiritual children. I've come to the conclusion that the whole of the residue must be given as an absolute gift to the Diamond Jubilee Investment Trust.
So basically, what was important for Diamond Jubilee Investment Trust was to provide funding to the Jamaat so that they can, for housing and for businesses. So it was a very important milestone for in transformation of the Jamaat.
Naseem Devji's family built their house with a loan from the Diamond Jubilee Investment Trust, which under colonial rule would have been their only source of funding.
There is no way my family living in a little village in Kahama could have accessed any funding in the late 40s and early 50s. There was no way.
The Diamond Jubilee Investment Trust has since evolved into one of the most trusted banks in East Africa, the Diamond Trust Bank, DTB. Today, Naseem Devji is the CEO of DTB, which is part of the Aga Khan Development Network, the AKDN. While it has expanded exponentially since its humble beginnings, its core values and focus have not changed.
We use our technology, the significant investment that we've made in technology, in the digital products. These are the avenues that we will harness to reach out to micro entrepreneurs. That is our focus. We must reach out to micro entrepreneurs. Yes, they are high risk. Yes, there are challenges with that kind of business. But this is the way to improve the quality of lives of people, and this is the mandate of DTB. It will have to be done. It is being done.
And one such micro-entrepreneur is Moses Mwangi, whose now successful excavation business, began when DTB believed in him.
What I was having, the deposit that I was having was not enough in the other banks. So when they told me that I can just raise what I had, the 20%, it helped so much. But with the other banks, I don't know whether I could be able to buy it. Apart from giving the loan, they even advise you on how you're going to do that small business. So with the little advice they give you, you're able to move faster. I could not be here I am today if it wasn't for the DTB.
Quality of life of the Jamaat and the communities amongst whom it lives has always been a focus of the Ismaili Imamat. This is reflected in the initiative which was created as a result of Mawlana Sultan Muhammad Shah's Platinum Jubilee, established during the colonial times as the first multiracial hospital, and today known as the Aga Khan University Hospital. The hospital is still setting standards with its Heart and Cancer Center, which was opened in 2011.
The Heart and Cancer Center represents a critical investment in the people of this region. We hope that future generations will look back at this moment, much as we look back to earlier steps along the way, and see that the work we undertake today does indeed mark an important benchmark on the path to a happier and healthier future.
Continuing in the tradition, when Mawlana Hazar Imam's Silver Jubilee was celebrated, the pioneering madrasa program was introduced. At the request of Muslim leaders, this program combined the ethics and values of Islam with high-quality early childhood education. The program has grown, opening the doors of opportunity for over 80,000 children each year.
A story that began with the sowing of some very small but well-selected seeds a quarter of a century ago. Seeds which took root and now have blossomed into an educational success story, which can serve as an inspiring example to educators everywhere.
And one such inspiring example is Naima, whose future was transformed and is in turn impacting the lives of others.
Me having completed the entire cycle, starting with the madrasa program and now currently working at the Aga Khan Hospital, it feels amazing because we started out quite simply in a play school with few teachers sitting along benches, and to have come from that and have seen how that could be, and now being a gynecologist working within the Aga Khan system, I feel it's the best way I can give back to my own community.
The vision of the Imam has transcended all generations, with young Ismailis taking a leading role. One such example is Kidogo, the network of early childhood centers in the slums of Nairobi that was founded by Sabrina and Afzal.
I feel like as an Ismaili, we've been taught and ingrained this value of service, and to take what you've been given and not use it for vanity or for other materialistic things, but really to be able to pay it forward. And Hazar Imam always says to try and create countries of opportunity. And for us, we believe that that starts at the early years. I think a lot of why we do what we do is because we feel like just because where you're born shouldn't have to dictate the rest of your life. And again, if we can create communities and countries like Kenya and make them countries of opportunity, I think we will have made a small dent in this world.
sun rises on the morning of April 14th, stretching out over the historic site of Mawlana Hazar Imam's Takht-e-Nashini. The mood is one of serenity, as the hearts of the Jamaat soar, waiting to be sated by the didar of their beloved Hazar Imam.
O Mawla, all this so that I can raise my hands with a prayer from the heart. Our heads held up high, for you are our pride. We are here to fly your flag up high the world over.